Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around $40. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the Director. Chargers fans, is it September yet, man? Oh my God, this Chargers team, on paper, like most years, looks really solid. The follow-up season for Justin Herbert's looming over us. Super excited to see him back on the field. But there's a slew of other Chargers that I feel like we should be equally excited about. Brand new coach Brandon Staley's coming in here, turning the team around in several different aspects. I love having an analytically minded head coach on the team right now. It just feels like we are moving into the future. Watch out, the Chargers train is about to be at full capacity. So today's video, I do want to point out some of the other players that I think we should be excited about. This is kind of a topic I covered, I think, like a month or two ago, talking about the top 10 breakout players for the Chargers. Now, I guess I use the term breakout a little bit loosely. Some of these guys definitely had great years last season with the Bolts, but I do think that they're getting ready to level up once again. And for instance, Asante Ekeler, right? I don't think we would consider him a breakout player, but I do also think that he's going to drastically improve, thus having another breakout, a new breakout for 2021. So we'll find out where he lands on my rankings here. Yes, we're going to go from 10 all the way up to number 1 to see who we should be most excited about breaking out in the 2021 season. This is my second take. This is the first one we're doing after the draft, so we might see some rookies in today's video. Before we do get started, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. My top 10 Chargers breakout players for the 2021 season. Take 2, which is after the draft, and could include rookies. We got 10 players to go over. Let's get started right away at number 10 with Jerry Tillery. I know, guys, okay? I read the comments. I know the general feel for Jerry Tillery on the Chargers fan base right now. It ain't too good. A lot of people look back at his draft and say, oh, man, that draft was terrible. You know, maybe we reached for Jerry Tillery. I think there's a case to be made that Jerry Tillery has shown some flashes, maybe in the past couple of seasons, flashes that could indicate maybe a breakout system in a new environment for Jerry Tillery. And I'm not saying new environment as a new team, just new environment as far as the new defensive scheme. I think the scheme could work for him. I think a 3-4 interior pass rusher, I think that he has the potential to break out from that spot. And also, just the fact that he'd have more opportunities in 2021 to actually get reps in. He had very limited usage in the Lynn system the past couple of seasons, and for good reason. We had some pretty good defensive tackles in there. But now that we're shifting gears a little bit, I think Brandon Staley, the biggest thing you're going to hear me say a lot today is Brandon Staley and his ability to put players in the best position to succeed. I think he's going to understand where to put Jerry Tillery on the field, mismatches, things like that, in order to get the best out of him. So I think this season in particular, very important for a player like Jerry Tillery to break out, and I think he does have the potential to do so. Let's move on to number 9. We got 10 players to go over today. Number 9 being Nasir Adderley. The first thing I want to point out, this is actually like third in my bullet points, but this is probably the most important thing to remember about Nasir Adderley in 2021. We're going to have Derwin James back, man. I don't think these guys have really played together since he was drafted, and I think some Chargers fans may have labeled him a bust already, but being there with Derwin James, having the opportunity to make plays with Derwin James back there is going to help him a lot. Having reliable help back there, unpredictable help back there as well when it comes to what is Derwin James going to do. Offensive coordinators going to be sweating bullets asking that question all season long. It should put Nasir Adderley in a good position to make some plays. And on the same note as that, versatility is going to be on his side this season too. Brandon Staley, again, we talk a lot about, matchups and things like that. I think he's going to give Nasir Adderley more opportunities to play in the slot, maybe even some cornerback like he played in college, and just really put him in the best position to make something happen. We were all excited about Nasir Adderley when we drafted him in the second round a couple years ago. We really saw some Earl Thomas playmaking potential there. I do think it still exists, and I think in this system specifically, if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen this upcoming season. Next up at number 8. Again, this is another player we talked about in the last iteration of this video, Michael Davis. Okay, I think Michael Davis is actually a lot higher, but since then we've got some new players we need to talk about. Michael Davis, flashes of brilliance in 2020, right? Definitely has the potential to be a true a cornerback 2 on anybody's team. I think with the Chargers, he might be able to contend for cornerback 1. Let's be honest here. He does have those physical attributes that a coach like Brandon Staley really could utilize on his defense. Tall, very fast, and he's going to be called upon a lot this season. We have to go up against players like Tyreek Hill, Judy, Henry Ruggs. These are really fast guys, and I think Michael Davis, honestly, at this point, when it's just coming up against that raw speed, gives us the best chance to defend that. So I think Michael Davis is going to have a lot of opportunity to hold down the fort at cornerback this season. Really also due to the fact that we don't have a ton of speed outside of him and Derwin. I think if he's going to break out, it's going to be this season. I see a lot of potential in that. That pick 6, or I think it was a pick 6, at least a pick on Tom Brady last season, was absolutely stellar. I want to see more plays like that and contributions like that from Michael Davis. Next up, this is a player that honestly I was kind of shocked to see here, but the more I looked into him, it's a fresh player. A lot of Chargers fans, he wasn't on our radar. We're going to talk about Josh Palmer here for a second. And honestly, I wasn't really thinking Josh Palmer would make the top 10 of breakout players because I didn't really see him as having a lot of play time in 2021. But then I got looking into why he's on this roster. You guys want to know why Josh Palmer was drafted by the Chargers in the 3rd round? I don't know if I can confirm this, but I heard that the Chargers staff, the scouting staff, kind of stumbled on him while scouting of the top-tier defensive backs in the league. We're talking guys like J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley. This dude was slapping him around pretty consistently when he was matched up against the best talent at cornerback in college football. And the more they were scouting these corners, the more Josh Palmer was coming up. They're like, who is this dude that keeps slapping around these guys, these top prospects that we want to take in the 1st round? Maybe we should nab him in the 3rd round to make sure he's on this roster. People didn't really know about Josh Palmer because of the lack of quarterback play in Tennessee where he was attending college. And I really do feel like he had the worst quarterback in the nation. I think a lot of his passes were very uncatchable, but the ones that he did come up with, brilliant. And I do think that Josh Palmer will have an opportunity to climb the depth chart this season, possibly wide receiver 3 by mid-season. You can utilize him in the slot. You can utilize him outside. I do think that, especially given the kind of tape that he provided against the best DBs in the nation, Josh Palmer could really sneak up on us and emerge as maybe a fringe wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, even by some people's perspective on this team in the future. Next up, the guy that we alluded to at the beginning of this episode, in Austin Ekeler, okay? Last time I did this video, I talked a lot about Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly, of course, kind of a disappointment last year, but put in a pretty good position to succeed this season. Austin Ekeler, though, cannot go overlooked. At number 6, I think Austin Ekeler could be one of those fantasy gods of the 2021 season. When I talk about fantasy gods, I talk about fantasy football. The guy's going to be running. The guy's going to be catching a lot. This new scheme fit should allow him to explode. Joe Lombardi coming in here, bringing a lot of stuff that he learned from the Saints offense the past couple of years. And who did they have on the Saints? Alvin Kamara, one of the best receiving backs in the league, could be the best receiving back in the league. But I don't know, man. Austin Ekeler waiting in the looms, waiting to get that kind of slice of action that Alvin Kamara has been seeing. I think in this new system, he's going to be catching a lot more passes. He's going to be utilized more as a receiving back rather than a power back like we saw last season in Anthony Lynn's system. Not to mention that the zone blocking, the run blocking in particular, with this new improved offensive line is going to be quite insane, guys. The difference between the Chargers 2020 offensive line and the 2021 offensive line is going to be insanely apparent week one. Kickoff, you're going to notice, oh my God, this offensive line kind of in sync, kind of something we're not used to seeing as Chargers fans. So behind that, behind a higher power passing offense, a more balanced offense, utilizing him to his strengths, which Brandon Staley is going to definitely emphasize this season. I think Austin Ekeler has one of the best shots to be maybe a top 5 running back in fantasy football. And of course, that's going to allow him to be one of the best running backs in the league this season. Watch out for Austin Ekeler in 2021. Speaking of Austin Ekeler and giving him a better, surrounding cast in order for him to succeed, guys like Rashaan Slater are going to be very important. We're coming in at number 5 here. Brand new rookie to the Chargers. We've all relived the moment over and over again on this channel. The Chargers got so lucky drafting Rashaan Slater at number 13 overall. He shouldn't have been there. The reason everyone says he shouldn't have been there is because this guy's been projected as an instant starter for a lot of teams. But more so for the Chargers, who last season, Sam Tevi, I would say he had a better season for Sam Tevi, but as far as around the league, not one of the best left tackles in the league. Now we're looking at Rashaan Slater, instant plug and play, Pro Bowl potential left tackle for Justin Herbert's blind side. Ooh, I'm getting excited. The only thing people are worried about with Rashaan Slater was his size. And I think you can wipe a lot of that away with the scheme that he's going to be putting in. A lot of zone blocking, very agile, decent in pass and in the run. I think Rashaan Slater is going to provide a lot of opportunities for, again, guys like Austin Ekeler, Justin Herbert, even our wide receivers to get open. His presence is going to be felt in combination with the new offensive linemen we brought in Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, Odeabushi. I think Rashaan Slater is going to stick out, and I think we're going to see glimpses of a Pro Bowl season in Rashaan Slater as soon as 2021. It's going to be very, very exciting. Next up, at number 4, this player, I honestly really struggled not to put him in even the top 2, but I do think his potential is there. I had other players that I feel super excited about as well. Either way, Kenneth Murray. Just had an interview yesterday, I believe. He did mention that he's going to be playing downhill a lot more aggressive. We're going to see a lot more pressure from Kenneth Murray this season. What was one thing that Chargers fans were kind of scratching their heads about last season a lot when it came to Kenneth Murray? Why are we only playing him in coverage? Go ahead and play him in coverage. Make sure he gets some reps out there, understands how to play that aspect of linebacker as well. But what he did really well in college, he was just everywhere. It was stiff against the run. We saw him blitz a lot. We saw him add a lot of pressure. He was just everywhere downfield or downhill. And I want to see more of that this season. Something that we desperately as Chargers fans wanted to see more pressure from Kenneth Murray. As well as he's going to be a perfect fit in Staley's system too. He's fast. He's versatile. He's got some reps in coverage under his belt now. I think Kenneth Murray could emerge as one of the best linebackers in football very, very soon, within the next few years. And I think we're going to see some signs of that in 2021. Kenneth Murray really is the full package. And I think, honestly, a lot of people might be sleeping on him because he didn't put up crazy stats as far as sacks and stuff like that last season. I think he's going to be insane. The most tackles by any rookie linebacker in Chargers history. I think he's going to come back and have a spectacular season with brand new head coach Brandon Staley. Next up, I think you guys know who this is. I might put him on the thumbnail of this video. Who knows? Asante Samuel. Number 3. Director, are you crazy? Number 3 is list of breakout players. Dudes, Asante Samuel. The talent of Asante Samuel, it eludes me how the heck he fell to us in the second round. Obvious first round talent to me. But what really makes it so special to see Asante Samuel with the Chargers is the unbelievable scheme fit. The things that Samuel did so well at the collegiate level will translate very well into the pros. We're going to be playing a lot of cover 4 quarters, man, stuff like that. He was very, very effective in those situations. And I think the Chargers very early recognized what he brings to the table at the pro level. They had him over for visits a lot, interviews a lot, more so than a lot of other players that they brought in before the NFL draft. I think they knew they wanted Asante Samuel. I was actually shocked they didn't trade up to go get him. But either way, he's on this team. He's going to make an immediate impact, guys. When it comes to cornerbacks that stand out in the rookie season, I don't know how often you see that. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see it with Asante Samuel this season. The dude's a ball hawk. Think Brandon Flowers with the Kansas City Chiefs way back in the day, or more recently like a Jason Verrett with less injury concerns. I think this guy is going to produce at a very high level. He reads the field at a pro level, too. So many things about Asante Samuel fit the culture and the scheme of the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think he's going to have his presence felt much sooner than later. I'm really thinking we're going to have some heads turned in 2021 when it comes to Asante Samuel. Very, very excited to see him produce with the Chargers this year. At number 2, I don't know if this is going to come as a shock to very many people. A lot of people have very high expectations on Uchenna Nwosu coming in at number 2 on this list today. The untapped potential of Uchenna Nwosu is insane. In Lynn's system last year, I feel like he was super underutilized for the past several seasons. We saw flashes of brilliance. The one thing that Chargers fans will point out a lot is the playoff game versus the Baltimore Ravens. Strip sack to end the game. Uchenna Nwosu, my God, why don't we see him on the field more? I think we stop asking that question a lot more this season. We're going to see plenty of Uchenna Nwosu this season. And I think the small sample size that we've seen in the past do speak to maybe really good results this season. And of course, we got to talk about Brandon Staley. We use the Leonard Floyd example a lot, and it's because it's so relevant to the situation of Uchenna Nwosu. Leonard Floyd with the Los Angeles Rams had a breakout season in Brandon Staley's defense. And again, nobody before coming to the Rams wanted Leonard Floyd on their team. He was considered a bust draft pick by the Bears. He moved on. He entered this system with Brandon Staley, and holy cow, he just got paid like $16 million or something ridiculous by the Los Angeles Rams this season. The dude's a baller out there, man. And I see the same potential for that same narrative to happen with Uchenna Nwosu. He's got very similar surrounding cast as in Joey Bosa. They can line up with him. You got Derwin James back, who again is going to be a huge, huge contributor to this defense this season. That's going to be a video on its own. I think we're going to see a lot of productivity come out of Uchenna Nwosu. The mismatches, Derwin being back, the scheme will allow him to break through more often than not. Very excited to see the potential of Uchenna Nwosu and hopefully earning that big contract. I think he's a free agent next season, and I think there's a lot of incentive and a lot of reasons why he'll be one of the biggest breakout players of 2021. And lastly, guys, again, shocker, we got a M. Night Shyamalan twist here at the end. No, we don't. It's going to be Justin Herbert, okay? And again, it kind of makes me like, why are we putting him on a breakout candidate list? Because the dude won Offensive Rookie of the Year, the best, rookie quarterback performance we've seen in NFL history. But I think the reasons he's on this list is because the dude's going to get better. The dude's absolutely going to blow some minds this season. Justin Herbert. We know the potential from his rookie season. The dude was an absolute insane freak of nature out there. He's about to come back into the NFL year 2 with a much, much improved offensive line. Okay, you guys got to remember the Chargers offensive line last season, one of the worst. I think it might have been the worst offensive line in football. I think at the very least, this new offensive line with Rashaan Slater, Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, Brian Bulaga, who should be coming back, I think this could be a top 10 offensive line. Even if the Chargers have a 15 overall offensive line, that is a huge improvement for a guy like Justin Herbert. We also have to consider he's got a full offseason to prepare. Last year, thrown into the mix, week 2, 5 minutes notice, if that, and he almost stumps the Kansas City Chiefs. We would have won that if not for the triple field goal from 50-plus by the Kansas City Chiefs, which is insane. Kind of bad luck. If he had beaten them, though, I don't think there would be any doubt in anyone's mind he's the best rookie of all time. Either way, this is going to be really good for Justin Herbert to prepare with the ones, to be prepared to be the starter in week 1, as well as having 2 extra games this season to play. I think the stat-wise, if you guys want to check that out, I put a video out a couple of days ago on what I think his stat projection might be. It's going to be insane. MVP caliber, in my opinion, is the potential of Justin Herbert in 2021. We also have to mention the scheme change, moving away from, I would say, trying to force a run-heavy offense into more of a balanced offense under Joe Lombardi, with maybe more of an emphasis on the heavy passing attack. This is all going to benefit Justin Herbert with that new offensive line into really blossoming into possibly a top 5, top 3 quarterback in the league within the next few years. The potential is insane, guys. Very excited. We also have last thing I have to mention about Justin Herbert before we jump off of this, because this is a pretty big deal too. One that maybe even I forget to mention sometime. This team, the Los Angeles Chargers, is currently being groomed for Justin Herbert. This pick right here of Josh Palmer likely was selected because he fit what Justin Herbert likes to do. The strengths of Justin Herbert match the skill set of Joshua Palmer. He's on the team. Rashaan Slater, we needed a guy exactly like Rashaan Slater to help progress Justin Herbert. The offensive weapons, the scheme, everything is being groomed because we found our franchise quarterback of the future. So I think Justin Herbert, as unbelievable a season he had in 2020, is going to break out again in 2021. The same conversations we heard about Patrick Mahomes his second year, we're probably going to be hearing that again. And it sucks because as a Chargers fan, I don't want to jinx nothing. I don't want to feel like a homer. But really, when you take a step back, a perspective look as just an NFL fan, it's unbelievable the kind of potential that Justin Herbert has going into his second season. We just have to wait and see if everything gels together to give him that best opportunity. And of course, Brandon Staley is going to give him the best opportunity out there. Well, guys, let me know in the comments section if you've got any additional names you wanted to add to this list of potential breakout Chargers. There's a lot of guys on there, man. Some people, if we're talking Justin Herbert, why not talk Joey Bosa? Why not talk Derwin James coming back after an injury-riddled season last year? Why not talk about Keenan Allen, with more, wide receivers out there, more time to be running his routes? Why not talk about those guys too? We will be talking about those guys in a different topic in a different video, but I wanted to see if there's maybe any other guys, Chris Rumpf out there, maybe other rookies, free agents that we should be talking about. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.